Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here, and today we are going to be doing a book review on a book that a lot of you have been requesting that I do. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time because I have some notes. I'm making a little bit of changes to the channel. In fact, the channel name is called Bulldog Mindset with John Sonmez now instead of just John Sonmez and no longer Simple Programmer. But today we're going to be reviewing the book Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And if you want to get a copy of that book, which I recommend that you check it out, go ahead and click the I to get the card and click there, or you can click the link in the description below. Now, I have to start this by saying that I am a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I really like his work. I agree with most of what he says. I've really enjoyed watching a lot of his YouTube videos. A lot of you have referred me. I think he's a very forward thinker. I think that a lot of what he says is just plain fucking common sense, and it's worth taking note. Now, this book, on the other hand, I am not the biggest fan of, and I'll tell you why. I agree with most of the stuff that he says in this book. It's got great content, it does, but it is not really 12 rules for life. Maybe my expectations were different. This is definitely a philosophical book. It's a lot of ramblings, and they're good ramblings, don't get me wrong. They're good ramblings. It's a little bit esoteric at some parts where it doesn't really have a point, or it's very hard to ascertain what that is. There's a lot of religious religious references and symbolism in the book for sure. But it's got some good lessons in here, so it's still worth the read. It's very, very long. I feel like I would like to have seen a very condensed version of this book with rules laid out very clearly and why. And so now I say this, guys, with an open mind, right? Or expecting you to have an open mind. I critique the book, but like I said, I started off this video saying that I enjoy Jordan Peterson's work. I agree with him for like 90% of what he says. Maybe a little bit we differ on some of the religious things and some of the discipline type of things. So one of the very first rules is this rule that talks about standing tall with your shoulders back. And what he's basically saying there is that human beings have a hierarchy, and that a lot of organisms, including lobsters, the example that he used, have hierarchies, and where you sit in the hierarchy, it's going to really determine your quality of life to some degree and how you feel about yourself. And so it's really good to make yourself feel like you're higher up in the hierarchy, to give yourself wins, right? This is a good mental thing to realize, and just a biological thing, right? If you have noticed, right, that the higher esteem that you have for yourself, the higher that other people will esteem you, and also you will undergo biological changes. For men, you're going to have more testosterone if you view yourself as a higher status or higher position, or you view yourself in the hierarchy as higher. The next one I want to talk about is treating yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. This is a great idea. If you give advice to yourself, if you actually give advice to yourself as if you're trying to help someone else, that's going to be the best way to do that. So a lot of times when I am advising myself, when I am trying to figure out what to do with myself, I pretend like I'm talking to someone else, okay? And a lot of times when I do these YouTube videos, I end up giving myself advice because I'm trying to give you advice. I'm trying to make a video, and it ends up being a good lecture for me to coach myself, honestly. Another one, he says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday or last year, not who someone else is today. This is something I've talked about a lot on this channel. I believe I've got a video on the topic on comparing yourself to who you were, not someone else, right? And this is a really important idea. We compare ourselves to other people. We need to be comparing ourselves to who we are, making constant progress. That's really important. Another thing he says is to tell the truth. So this is kind of interesting. So what he means by this is really to be real, to be honest with people in how you're presenting yourself and who you are. Now that might mean that you need to change who you are in order to become what you want to become, but you need to be real and be real with people and be raw and truthful. And this is a really important thing. In order to establish social connections, in order to get people to trust you, they have to feel like you're authentic and genuine. And that's really important. That's one of the things that I've banked on this channel. I think a lot of the reason why this channel has grown and become successful is because when I'm talking to you guys, you know that I'm being real. You know that I'm being authentic. You know I'm not making some shit up. You know, I'm not perfect at it. Don't get me wrong. There are times where I will record a video and I'll feel like it was more not coming from the heart. But for the most part, I lay it all out here, and that's really important. Another one is listening. So he does a whole chapter on listening. And really what that is to me is seeing reality clearly. And really it's about having the perspectives to be able to see reality very clearly. That's a very, I'd say, cross-cutting sentiment in the book, right? Is this idea of seeing reality clearly, which is something that I am on board with. Another chapter, I think he says not to mess with kids when they're skateboarding or something like that. And it's really about hating humanity, right? I was just talking to a buddy of mine, Josh Earl, who's my partner in Simple Programmer business. And he was talking about how, yeah, whatever I say to John, whenever some shit happens, he's always like, that's great because, right? And that's so true. It's like, I have that attitude is when I see something, when something goes wrong, my immediate reaction is that's great because you can find the good. There's always some reason why something can be good. And if you have that perspective, your life is going to be a lot better, and you're not going to be as nihilistic, and you're not going to hate humanity. You're going to realize that, people aren't perfect, and you're not perfect. And you know what? But it's fucking awesome to be alive. It's fucking awesome to just breathe fucking air, and there's always something to look forward to. Anyway, like I said, not my favorite book. I felt like it was really long, and I would have liked to see more concise, like actual rules for life. But, this is kind of, I would view this book as a stream of, in fact, the last chapter of the book, like there's a closing chapter, it's a stream of consciousness. So, to be non-hypocritical here, this channel is sort of like this book, okay? Right? I mean, how many different topics do I talk about and going this direction and that direction? And, but it's still hopefully interesting to listen to some of that stuff. Heck, this fucking video has been like that. So make sure you check out the book if you haven't already. Like I said, the link will be in the description below and in the cards. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you click the subscribe button below. And if you'll do me a favor so you don't miss any videos, click that little bell when you click the subscribe so that you can get notifications when a new video comes out. There's a new video every single day on this channel. I'll talk to you next time.